Hey, what's up you guys? Today I am here with my 4 friends. None of them are working, and I'm going to take my first attempt at customizing one of them. My plan is right now is none of these work, so I'm gonna plushify them.
Alright, so the skinning experience was made difficult by the zip ties. I struggled to find them and then to cut them with everyone, as you can see here.
Ooh! Oh. A whole thing came out, okay.
If I could go back and do anything different about this process, it would be to just focus on one Furby through the entire process, just because it would have made my life a lot easier and recording a lot easier. There was a lot of confusion made by doing all 4 of them.
I guess the next step is taking it off all the way. So apparently we can just, oh, and then you, alright, so now, interesting. I'm also trying to be as delicate as I can. Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. That is so freaky. Oh my gosh. Okay, show Spencer. It's so freaky. Oh no. So now we've got one of them, we'll move on to the second one.
So after that enlightening experience, I went and did the same thing with the other 3 1998 ones, and then after that I went over to the 2012. It was a different process, but I wouldn't say it was any more difficult than the 1998 ones.
All 4 of them. Woo. Now to clean them. Now to clean them. So, it's been a few days because I wanted to make sure that I had the right soap. Okay, so now I'm going to wash the fur. It's been a few days. I'm wearing different clothes. It's still late at night. I wanted to get the right soap. This is what I've heard is the right soap. I don't know. We'll see. So this one is the one that I'm going to be doing in this video. Alright, here we are.
So here I cleaned them. I soaked them with the soap. I wasn't really sure how much soap to use, so I added a little bit at first and then gradually added more as I saw seemed necessary. I kind of went on the pictures of the tutorials I was using and was like, there's not enough bubbles, so I should probably be using more soap.
Okay.
I ended up soaking 2 Furbies at a time, even though the tutorials I read said not to do that in the case of dye bleeding or their fur, the colors bleeding. I didn't have that problem, so it ended up working out. Alright, so it's been a night and they are now dry, and so this is the one that we will see for the rest of the video. I feel like the soap really did do some wonders on this fur. It is a lot more bright, it feels a lot softer, and smells so much better. So here I get my supplies and I'm ready to start painting the eyelids, which I wanted to go for an arcade theme when I painted the eyelids. I ended up kind of abandoning that later on with the eye chips and the clothes. But I really was so proud of the base coat. It is so smooth and so purple. This is my favorite color. And here I go back to the paints to add on the pattern for the eyelids. I was really reaching for the carpet of an arcade, though I'm not sure it's all that obvious, especially at the end. But the squiggles and the curly cues gave me a retro vibe, so I tried to combine that with bright colors. I ended up completely forgetting about the green, and I'm kind of thankful that I did because I don't know if it would have worked quite as well with the other colors over top the purple. Once I was done with the eyelids, I moved over to the plastic part of the faceplate that's attached to the fur, and let me tell you, this was an entire process. I'm sure you can tell because I'm not even in the frame for half the footage because I'm struggling so much, so I just stopped filming and plan to show you once I was done. Once I was done painting, I was ready to plushify the Furby. I had to wait a few days in order to get the right screwdrivers because I only had one giant one and I needed a tiny screwdriver. But nonetheless, here we go. I had a struggle getting some of the screws off just because they wouldn't rotate even with the tiny screwdriver, but of course the struggle is mostly out of the frame of the camera. But we continue on. I don't know if those who made the tutorials I found didn't have a special screw behind the Furby's stomach, but there was one on mine and I had no idea how to get it out because the screw was almost impossible to move. But I eventually got the faceplate removed from the rest of the shell bits. Once I'm finally ready to move on to the next step, I realize that I need a hot glue gun. Do I have one of those? No. Did I have time before work to go to the store and get one? No. But did I have super glue and thought that would work? Yes. I did a bit of paint touch-up since it went through some rough times with my tools, and then I start to apply the fabric that goes behind the faceplate to prevent stuffing from coming through. I didn't know this at the time, but I super glued it on way too tight, and I wasn't able to open the eyelids. And so I had to rip off the super glued fabric, reapply it with more super glue, realized that didn't work, so I tried different fabric, and it kind of works. It still didn't quite... They don't quite move as much as I wish they would, but they move better than they were, which was not at all. My camera card runs out of storage here soon, so I don't get the rest of this footage, but I eventually stuff it and sew it all together, even if it took 6 hours longer than I thought it would. So here is the finished Furby, all plushified and ready to squeeze. If you're anxious to see the eyes, you don't have to wait any longer. Here they are, which happens to be the moment that I abandoned my arcade theme. I literally just put stars and used the same colors, and that's the only connection to my original idea, but I love it anyways. The stars inside do move, however not as easily as I had envisioned they would. I don't really see this as a mess up, but more how I could do it differently in the future. Once I perfect it and settle in a reliable system for how I do this, I can put up a tutorial. But anyway, here's more of this Furby's cool features. The purple ears and the sewed bottom. The ears were a last-minute decision, and all I did was just water down some acrylic paint and went to town. It took a couple of coats to get it to this darker color, and it's a bit uneven, but I kind of like that. My mom even taught me how to make overalls. I'm not going to focus too much on the missing button, okay? But the overalls match the bottom of this Furby. I haven't named them yet, mainly because I have this one up for sale on my Instagram, and I want the person who adopts them to give them a name. The overalls have the hole for the tail, even though this Furby doesn't have the tail. Look in the description for my Instagram, but yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week. Bye!